The Carolina Hurricanes are looking to close out their first round series against the New York Islanders tonight in Game 5 in Raleigh. But can they do it? That is the big question for tonight. And today we will talk about how they can do just that in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Tuesday afternoon. And this episode is brought to you by the lovely folks over at Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code Locked On NHL for $20 off your first purchase. Now, folks, it is time for Game 5 tonight against the New York Islanders, and the Hurricanes can close it out tonight. And I am fully confident that they can. It's just whether or not they can put the pieces together to get it done. We talked about yesterday of what I feel the Islanders are going to be bringing to this game. And, if you haven't listened to that, go listen to it, but I'll talk about it here as well. And that is the Islanders are going to be playing a very, very desperate game tonight. And we're going to see more of them bringing a bunch of physicality and knocking the Hurricanes around. And the Hurricanes need to be ready to push back tonight. Keep it between the whistles. Don't do anything crazy or anything like that. Like the Islanders have been doing this series. Don't do that. But they need to push back and don't get pushed around. Don't let the Islanders force their game onto the Hurricanes. Let's not let that happen. The Hurricanes need to stand their ground, play their game, stick to their game plan, and they can do that. I'm fully confident that they can win the game tonight. But a big thing of them sticking to their game tonight and not getting flustered, trying to do anything else is the power play. That was one thing that worked in the last game in Game 4 is that they stuck to the plays that were drawn up and they didn't try to do anything fancy on the fly or anything like that. They stuck to the game plan and they came away with the win. And that's what they're going to need to do tonight. Stick to the game plan. And if they can do that, I think they can. But again, power play is going to be big and special teams as a whole as well. That has really been a difference maker this series for both teams. If they can show up on the power play, they can show up on the penalty kill. They tend to win these games. And the Hurricanes as a whole have been winning the special teams battle this series. And that's going to need to continue tonight. They have got to show up on special teams if they want to close it out in 5 games. Let's not have a game 6 on, what would it be, Friday. Let's not have that. And let's get it done tonight. And one thing with the game tonight is that Freddie Anderson is going to be available for the Hurricanes. We'll talk about it more with the lineup in a bit, but he is going to be backing up Antti Raanta tonight, and that is something that it's good. It's good that he's going to be backing up tonight. He's not going to be out for an extended period of time because that was something that a lot of people were worried about is, what is Freddie Anderson's health going to be? We haven't seen him at all this series because he had that upper body injury before game and then was sick as well. So the fact that he can at least even be able to suit up, that's going to be a really, really good thing for the Hurricanes. Now, Jack Drury, he's not going to be suiting up. That was something Rod Brind'amour talked about after practice this morning, is that Jack Drury, he's not playing tonight, but it's also not a concussion, which is really, really good that it's not a concussion because those are no joke. And then obviously that would mean he'd be out for an extended period of time as well because you don't want to rush that back and then risk making it even worse. But it's just an upper body injury. We're obviously not going to be told, what it was or anything like that. That's something we'll probably never know, or at least until the end of the playoffs. We won't know. But, you know, the fact is he's not going to be out long term. Like Tabo, he's probably going to miss the rest of the playoffs now. So, we'll at least be able to have Jack back at some point. You know, obviously not tonight, but we'll see where it is. But one thing that happened at morning skate this morning was that Shane Gostisbehere did leave the ice in some pain, and there was also, who was I believe Seth Jarvis and Jalen Chatfield getting tangled up in the boards as well. But all of these guys, with Gossett Spare being the one that a lot of folks are talking about, as him leaving the ice in pain. But Rod did say afterwards that he should be good to go for tonight. He's in the projected lineup for tonight's game, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, that's some big stuff heading into this game. How will Gossett Spare be? Will he be at 100%? Freddie Anderson, he's backing up. Will that mean we're going to be seeing him soon? Obviously not tonight, but do we see him in game 6 if there is one? Do we see him in game 1 of the next series? He's in the mix. Like, when are we going to see him? And that's going to be really, really interesting. And again, the biggest key for the game, usually I try to have like 3 or 4 keys to the game, but really the only key for this game is, well, 2 keys, I guess you would say, is, what they've been doing right, stick to it. But the biggest key is special teams. It's got to show up. Power play, especially, that can show up. The Hurricanes will be good to go for tonight. But, in lieu of doing some keys to the game, I do want to talk about some players that we'll want to watch in tonight's game. And we will do that right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, right now, Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. You're drafting your fantasy team, for football, basketball, whatever. Do you ever wish you could handpick the best stars for your business team? If you're building your talent roster, you do need Indeed. So don't spend hours on job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Find top talent with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like matching assessments and virtual interviews. Hate waiting? Indeed's US data shows over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. I've used Indeed before when I've been looking for jobs. So, whenever I'm using that, I typically get messages back pretty darn quick. I've used, where my resume matches up before. So, Indeed knows you're growing your business. You have to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must have requirements. So visit indeed.com/locked on to start hiring now. Just go to indeed.com/locked on, indeed.com/locked on. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Now, players to watch tonight. I've been stressing just how important the power play is, and one guy that has been really standing out on the power play has been Stefan Nazin. He is factored in on 4 of the Hurricanes' 5 power play goals this series so far. And if you remember back to the regular season, he was a force on the power play. If you remember, back when he got hurt and was out of the lineup and obviously not a part of the power play, I was saying that that's going to be a big loss because it felt like he was really one of the Hurricanes' best power play players. At that time, he was the best. And then he was just one of the best ones throughout the season. He was really able to get it done on special teams, this year in power play, especially. And with that being such a big thing in this game tonight, you're going to want him to be on his A game tonight. And I think that, if he can be putting it together there, that's going to be great. And obviously, you're going to want, other guys, chipping in as well. It doesn't always need to be Steph, but he has been so good and so vital on that unit. we need it to continue, and especially tonight if we're wanting to close out this series. Now, another one that everyone has been talking about has been Mackenzie McKiernan. He had a really, really great debut for the Hurricanes. He'd obviously had playoff experience before. He won a Stanley Cup with St. Louis, but he had had a rough season down in Chicago. Yeah, he missed several months at the beginning of the season with upper body injuries, but he was able to come back in the second half of the season, play for them, and then now he's getting a shot up here. And in his debut for the Hurricanes, he had a goal and assist. For a guy, you're not expecting that from him. In his debut, you're just kind of expecting him to go out there and essentially kind of like your backup quarterback or whatever in football, just go out there, manage the game, don't lose it for us. But he was going out there and played a big part in the Hurricanes winning that game and kind of took everyone by surprise. And he's taking his opportunity that he's been given and really trying to make the most of it. Now, how long he stays in the lineup, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. With Jack Drury not being out for a long period of time, maybe just this game, maybe the next game, whether it be game 6 or game 1, we'll just have to wait and see. But he's McKenzie, he's taken his opportunity and running with it. And I really want to see him keep that momentum going. I want to see him have a really good game. I'm not necessarily saying, another goal and assist, multi-point night. I'm not saying that. Obviously, be great. I don't think anyone would be upset with that. But if he can continue that momentum going, get a goal, get an assist, get multiple, he can keep that momentum going. That's going to be great for him and great for his confidence going forward in the playoffs. Whenever the time would come when he may have to slot back into the lineup, like, all right, he had it going. We're not going to be, too worried about him. He knows what he needs to do. And I really want to see him keep that momentum going. Another one is that of Brady Shea. I just have a gut feeling he's going to have a really good game tonight. He quietly had one of the best seasons for defensemen in the NHL. It wasn't one a lot of people were talking about. He's just quietly having a fantastic season. Brent Burns as well. But Brady Shea, it just felt like, man, like he just had everything put together this year. And this playoffs, he's had a good playoff so far, but so far the only defenseman for the Hurricanes to get a goal this year had been Jacob Slavin, which is crazy because he's not the goal scorer. It's usually out of Brady Shea. He really put it together offensively this year. And I really feel like things are going to fall his way soon in the playoffs. I really think that tonight can be that night for him. And feel that he's just knocking on that door, to have the puck start going his way in the back of the net for the playoffs. I really, really think tonight is the night. I think, a lot of guys for the Hurricanes know that, hey, we win this, we get, to sit back for a little bit, wait for that other series to finish, rest up a little bit. A guy like Jack Drury, he can get ready to go. If Shane Gostisbehere, if he needs, a little bit, extra time, to get 100%, he's got that extra time. All these guys have been getting, beat to death in this series against the Islanders. They can have a little bit extra time to rest up. So, these guys at this point, they know what winning in the playoff means. They're not, those young kids, in their first trip to the playoffs. No, these guys know what's at stake tonight. And I fully expect them to go out there and get it done. And the final guy that I want to really watch tonight is the guy in between the pipes, Antti Ranta. This is 5 straight games for him. This is a potential series clinching game, and can he show up and do it well for the Hurricanes? He has been all series long. You look at that loss in Game 3. It was like, what was it, 5-1? That one on him. That was game was absolutely not on him. Antti Ranta has had a really, really good series and has been getting it done for the Hurricanes this series. And I always say, you go with the hot set of hands, and that appears to be what the Hurricanes are doing tonight. Is just continue to roll with Antti Ranta. He's getting it done for the Hurricanes. Why change up? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it's not broke for the Hurricanes. Antti Ranta is getting it done. And I really want him to be able to go out there, continue the performance he has been having. And then I also really want the team out in front of him to show up and play good for him so that way he's not having to do crazy saves, rip his pants again. We all saw that clip. Let's not have him having to make pants ripping saves, to win the game for us. Let's just have normal saves. Don't want him to get hurt or anything like that. I think, if he can, just go out there, have a really good game like he's been having, the Hurricanes will stand a really, really good chance to win this game. But we're talking about Antti Ranta in between the net. We've talked about a little bit about where other guys are slotting into the lineup, and we will dive into the remainder of the Hurricanes lineup right after this quick break, folks. Now, if you're wanting to go to tonight's game, but you haven't got your ticket yet, you can do so with Gametime. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all of the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you, with killer deals on last minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you will have. So forget planning months in advance. Again, if you just happen to find out that you have the night off tonight, don't worry about it. Go on Gametime because they have deals right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best prices. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You never like getting surprised by a bad seat. And buy tickets in just a matter of seconds. 2 taps and you're all set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to worry about digging through your email. I've had to do that before. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, the lineup for tonight's game. Again, we've already talked about the goalie, and that is Antti Ranta is appearing to get the start again for the Hurricanes with Freddie Anderson backing up tonight. Again, this is one, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Plain and simple. Antti Ranta has been getting the job done and getting it done well. So why would you want to change that? Why would you want to risk, losing the game by throwing, a guy that's completely cold out there, whether it be Freddie Anderson, Pyotr Kochetkov, when, Antti Ranta has been doing so darn well. But again, we don't have Jack Drury tonight as either. So on the top line, we have McKiernan, Aho, and Jarvis. This is one I want to see these guys continue the momentum that they've been having this series. Sebastian Aho, he just passed Eric Stahl for most playoff goals in franchise history. Seth Jarvis had a 2-goal night the other night. McKiernan, we just talked about his great debut for the Hurricanes. Let's see that continue. On the second line, we have Martin Kokiniemi and Ignatius, another guy that I've seen, folks talking about. I mentioned Brady Shea, just knocking on the door, waiting. It feels like it's time. Kokiniemi is another guy. It feels like, it feels like he's right there. He just needs that one puck to go in the back of the net, and then things are going to start going his way. And Natchez, again, he's already been a big factor in the playoffs already. On the third line, we already talked about him: Steph Nason, Jordan Stahl, and Jesper Foss. Those are all guys. Playoffs, come around. We know how clutch Jordan Stahl can be. We just saw it with Jesper Foss the other game, and Steph Nason on the power play is an absolute force of nature. So let's see those guys continue the momentum that they have. On the fourth line is Derek Stepan, Paul Stastny, and Jesse Puljujarvi. And this is a line I really want to see these guys, just continue to do what they do. They've been really, really good so far. We've already seen stats and factor in or get a goal. Excuse me. Puljujarvi is another guy. We've seen some good defensive play from him. Like, I want to see this stuff continue. Like, these guys, you look at that last game, good team game. Let's see this continue. And one thing I think we will see continue from last game into this game is the lines being kind of fluid and things getting changed up mid game. I do think that is pretty fair to expect. Whether or not we do see it, we'll just have to wait and see. But that's always, something that's likely, with Rod Brind'amour during the games. And defensive pairs. This is going to be interesting. As of right now, we are still sitting at the same stuff. Jacob Slavin, Brent Burns, Brady Shea, Brett Pesci, and Shane Gossesbear and Jalen Chatfield. But remember, Gossesbear did get hurt in practice. Brind'amour did say he would be or he should be ready to go for the game. But in the event that he's not, who do we see there? I think that's obviously going to be Calvin DeHaan. That would be him making his debut in the playoffs for the Hurricanes this season. Obviously, there was a few years ago, his official debut for the Hurricanes, but it would be his playoff debut this season. So that's what I think would happen there. But again, they're already having him hit in the projected lineup. Brind'amour's already said that he should be ready to go for the game tonight. I imagine, hey, just maybe an awkward fall or something like that. And, just kind of needs to, sit down, rest for a bit, and then be good to go. But again, that's just something we'll have to wait and see come game time. But it's not something I'm overly concerned about. You shouldn't be either. But in between the pipes, again, we have Antti Ranta with Freddie Anderson backing up. Injuries being Jack Drury just listed as upper body injury. Teuvo Teravainen is out with a broken hand, likely to not return for the playoffs at all. But this is going to be a big game for the Hurricanes tonight. They can clinch and get this series over and done with. If their power play shows up tonight and their even strength can show up the way it had been, I think the Hurricanes are going to be all right tonight. They just need to be ready for the physicality and desperation the Islanders are going to be playing with. That is going to be really, really big for tonight for the Hurricanes. If they can do that, I think they'll be okay. But in the meantime, make sure you're following Locked On Hurricanes on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at Jared Ellis _96. And I will talk to you guys in tomorrow's episode where we recap tonight's game. And as always, let's go Canes.